King Faisal Specialist Hospital and Research Center, and recently Center for Genomic Medicine was established in 2021, which integrates the clinical, the laboratory, the translational research, and bioinformatics together under one umbrella. We have served around 16,000 patients with an annual growth of 16.6% in 2023. We are a group of 8 clinical geneticists and 10 counselors that increased from 3 in 2021. As you can see, the number of families served is steadily growing from 2020 to 2023. And we received our CAP accreditation for our genomic lab in 2022. And I should say the group who came were really impressed by what they saw in the center as a whole, especially the integration between the clinical and laboratory, as well as the sophistication of the lab itself. Since I started the chairmanship, the prenatal care was somewhat chaotic and causing multiple problems, especially in terms of communication and so on. So we started a collaboration project between us and the obstetric and gynecology, and this slide just to tell you the official fatwa, the official stance when it comes to termination, for the audience to understand what Saudi Arabia official position on termination. So according to the Council, it is permissible to terminate a pregnancy if the fetus is affected with severe disease and poses a significant burden on the affected child and his family. It is permissible only prior to 120 days of ensoulment, which is equivalent to 19 weeks gestational age. And the challenges that we face with this, we have a very large volume. And there is a time pressure with the 19 weeks that I mentioned to you. And we have multiple referrals, and sometimes we have incomplete genetic workup. So the prenatal board receive referrals from our department or any department within the hospital, or even from outside. And sometimes we receive variant of unknown significance or incomplete workup and so on. So on what basis, what objectives do we want to achieve with the prenatal board? We want to deliver the best standard of prenatal care. We want to provide the best safe practice and provide the best patient experience. And to do this, we embarked on a 1-year data analysis. This analysis of about few hundred cases, and from where these cases come from, how many of those have variant of unknown significance, and so on. And based on this, we came up with a new workflow, a referral workflow with our obstetricians, which cases to be referred to our clinic and which cases that can be immediately referred to the prenatal care. And basically, if it is a boss, we have to see this patient, we evaluate this family as soon as possible. And we stressed a lot on quality. And we developed a prenatal checklist that was quality oriented. We could select the wrong gene. We could have another genetic disease. About 5% of our families have a second genetic disease that can be overlooked. We have to investigate the variant of unknown significance carefully with phenotyping and genotyping. And we can have a complex mutation type, like gene deletion, for example, intragenic gene deletion, and which disease to terminate. And we also focus on patient experience. We want the patient and the family to have the best experience possible. And That's why we established the prenatal referral workflow. We have a daily on-call clinical geneticist and genetic counselor for prenatal care, and we established a prenatal board meeting on a weekly basis with 4 consultant geneticists, 3 molecular geneticists, 1 consultant or fellow from OBGYN, 4 counselors, and 2 coordinators. We opened 4 weekly prenatal genetic counseling clinics. All these measures, I should say, have been introduced for the first time at King Faisal Specialist Hospital. And this is us meeting, deliberating, scientifically, ethically, and socially, all the challenging cases that come to the prenatal board. We also replicated this work to our colleagues in other regional centers in the country, in Jeddah and Medina. And we focus on patient experience. As I said, that we do pre and post genetic counseling sessions, and we have a prenatal hotline for pregnant women in our clinic. They can access us at any time to let us know that there is a pregnancy that needs to be evaluated for prenatal care. I would like to share with you 1-year progress of these changes. As you can see, the prenatal cases have been steady overall, but after the inception of the prenatal board, we had a 21% increase, more than 300 genes covered, and this is mainly by improving access, improving awareness among clinicians. The prenatal cases steadily increasing over month. There is an uptrend month after month. And back to quality, after 12 months of work, if you remember the first list I showed you, here we increased 2 items because we always stress it. If there is a deficiency, we'd like to address it immediately and urgently. So if there is a contamination, regardless whether it is minimal or more than minimal, we have to flag these samples. This usually on CBS samples. And immediately repeat it on amniocentesis because of the time pressure. And this is done urgently and receive full attention. We deal with pseudogenes. So we establish a workflow. If the pseudogene test is available to be outsourced, we do it. Otherwise, we use the next generation sequencing platform, although with limitation, of course. This is the pseudogene list that we use. We adopted this from Blueprint Genetics. And it's as I said, it's a challenging, and I think it will improve more and more with longer read next generation sequencing. Let me give you some illustrative examples. We always run against time. 19 weeks is our cutoff. This is a case that I saw a long time ago with IgHMB2 mutation. It's a BOS. It's a homozygous. It causes hypotonic ventilator dependency. It goes with a phenotype. The neurologist who saw another child from the same family who died earlier think this is the disease. So we found DNA from the previous deceased child at MNG lab, which was done, I can't remember, maybe 2016, and urgently requested targeted mutation, and yes, that child was also homozygous for the same mutation, and we were able to upgrade this to likely pathogenic. Another case was a 3-year-old with combined immune deficiency and dysmorphic features, or had a VOS in this gene, DMBT3B, and this gene is known to cause centromeric instability, ICF syndrome. So the chromosomal study was not done. So the mother is pregnant, and we were able to have a very nice cytogeneticist who was able to do the chromosomal analysis using the mitomycin-C, studying the instability, and was able to prove that the patient had association of centromeric region at lower and higher concentration 23% and 54% and 0 in control, which enabled us to put it as a likely pathogenic. VOS remains a diagnostic bottleneck for us and for everyone. It is the most malaligned result in genetic testing. Let me give you an example. We have the referral from the family. So this family came to us with LAT2 mutation. It's a BOS on the report, but there was no detail. So we had to communicate with the primary immunologist, and who was quite helpful. Provided us that the CD15. There was lack of expression of CD15, and there was Bombay blood group, both of which confirming this is a likely pathogenic mutation. There is a nice review, or I would say article about the challenges related to the VOS, whether it is ethical, legal, or clinical, the known unknown. And what the author said, that the current approach to VOS can sometimes seem like passing the hot potato from the lab to the clinician onto the patient, who is ultimately the one who has to live with the uncertainty of the result, and who is generally least equipped to understand it. And believe it or not, we hold the hot potatoes every week in our prenatal board. Also, sometimes we receive a case that promote us to go for gene hunting and mapping. One of the cases is this one. This lady came with a result in JPH1, a homozygous. At that time, in 2023, there was no gene, no Oman disease associated with homozygous biallelic mutation in JPH1. JPH1 is considered the modifier gene with GDAP1. If there is a hetero mutation in GDAP1 and a hetero mutation in JPH1, it will cause a severe form of Charcot-Marie tooth. As you can see, it's a modifier gene, and there are several publications that this gene is a modifier gene along with GDAP1. So we were able to communicate with a group in UK who happened to collect these cases, and collaborated, and we proved that loss of function in JPH1 now causes congenital myopathy with prominent facial and ocular involvement, and now we can help our family in future prenatal care. We are proud to receive congratulations from our CEO for what we did in the prenatal service as a whole and the prenatal board. And the reason I called it Nile Delta in ancient Egypt, if you look at the Nile, which is the largest river in Africa, at the end, before it reaches the Mediterranean, it forms a triangle called the Delta. It is the most fertile area in Africa, and it represents the basket of food production in Egypt. And to me, there's so many genes that converge into the prenatal board, in some way analogous to this, to the sediments that make the fertile area in the Nile Delta. And this is an acknowledgement for all the team from my department, from the lab, and also from OB, and our director, Dr. Salah Baz, for making this one of the most fascinating sort of like multidisciplinary care that we are providing to our prenatal families. With this, thank you very much. And for any questions or queries, if we can make it live, it will be great. Otherwise, I can receive it by email and I will respond to them accordingly. Thank you very much.
So I have the honor to invite our last speakers.